Hi, it's Nick from the Run Testers, and this is our first run review of the On Cloudboom Echo. So On kind of released two carbon plate shoes last year, the main one being the Cloudboom, which is this shoe. They also had the Cloud Flash, which was a kind of a race shoe they already had. They put a carbon plate in. Both the original Cloudboom and the Flash were quite firm shoes, it's fair to say. There's not a huge amount of a rocker on the original Cloudboom. When we did our testing, we all found it probably a little bit too firm, certainly for marathons at least. The new Cloudboom Echo seems to try and address that issue by putting a lot more cushioning on, and the cushioning certainly feels a little bit softer as well. That extra cushioning allows for a bit more room for a kind of redeveloped carbon speedboard that has a lot more of a kind of bend and scoop in it, which is kind of what you get from most carbon shoes to kind of help you provide that propulsion as you power through each foot strike. There's kind of more cushioning all around, but especially under the forefoot. I think we kind of noticed when we were testing the boom, you did get kind of fair bit of forefoot pressure in kind of longer runs in the shoe, so hopefully that will remedy that. Compared to the original Cloudboom, the Echo is also lighter. My UK size 9 weighs 227 grams, which is 8.0 ounces on the dot, whereas the Cloudboom weighs 240 grams. You know, it's not a huge difference, but actually that puts the Cloudboom Echo in the kind of pack of most carbon plate super shoes around the kind of 220, 230 mark, with a few notably lighter ones like the Vaporfly. The shoe has the same 9mm heel to toe drop as the original Cloudboom. We've asked On for the stack height, haven't managed to get that information yet, but it's not as super high as some stack shoes like the RC Elite 2 or the Alphafly, but it's a reasonably generous amount of cushioning there. That cushioning is on kind of helium foam with the signature pods there. It's not the softest cushioning in the world. It's fair to say. Everyone knows that really, but if those people who do prefer a firmer, kind of more responsive ride, these Clouds can provide it. One change from the Cloudboom that we're not so keen on is the price has jumped from £170 to £210. That obviously puts it, well, it's the same price as the Vaporfly. It's more expensive than some super shoes like the Adios Pro 2, Saucony Endorphin Pro. Really, On is setting this out as a top tier super shoe going up against the very best in the business. They developed this with elite athletes, and it's priced to match, so it's got to kind of at least match that performance, really, to justify that kind of outlay. When it comes to the upper, you're getting a nice mesh weave. It looks a little bit tighter and kind of maybe slightly less kind of open than you got on the original Cloudboom, but yeah, it seems like it's going to be perfectly breathable and nice and comfy. And then on the outsole, you've got kind of minimal actual rubber covering on the shoe. There's a little bit around the heel here for kind of impact zones there, and then a fair bit more on the forefoot. This it looks like exposed foam, but is reasonably hard wearing on shoes, it's fair to say. It's not like a really soft midsole compound that you can wear down by running on towpaths or even just the tarmac. Actually, slightly less rubber than you got on the original, I'd say. But that's not really a huge change. Maybe that's helped make the shoe a little bit lighter. You obviously still have the big old groove down the middle of the shoe, which will catch any kind of rocks and stuff like that you run over. It's a road racing shoe, probably won't be a big problem, but it's always annoying if you do catch a rock in it and then it's click, click, click while you're running, or you have to stop and take it out. But yeah, lots of changes to the Cloudboom Echo. We're hoping this is going to be a big upgrade on the Cloudboom, providing a super shoe ride, a super shoe experience, bounce, propulsion, carbon plate, all that stuff, whilst maybe being a slightly firmer option than some of the other super shoes out there, which would be a welcome kind of addition to the ranks as something a little bit different to the super soft shoes that do exist on the market. So myself, Kieran, Tom and Mike have all got the On Cloudboom Echo. We've all been out for a first run in the shoe. We're going to give you our initial thoughts here. Lots more testing and a full review to come down the line. But yeah, here's our first run and early impressions of the On Cloudboom Echo.
So I'm just about to head out for my first run in the On Cloudboom Echoes. I wasn't a massive fan of the previous Cloudboom. It was a little bit too hard for me. There was not enough cushioning on it and just felt a bit harsh on my calves. The Echo has quite a bit more cushioning in this midsole, which I'm quite looking forward to trying. And there's this really noticeable pronounced curve in the design of the shoe, which wasn't in the Cloudboom. So let's see what I think on my first run. Okay, so I'm about 3.5, 4K into kind of mini progression run. So the first half, I've just tried to do it marathon pace consistently, which is for me about 4:40 per kilometre. And they feel really nice. I'm really enjoying them actually. I was expecting them to be a bit harder, a little bit more like the Cloudboom.
they're definitely not as soft as anything like the Vaporfly or the Asics Meta Speed Sky or anything like that, but they're definitely a little bit softer than what you get in the Cloudboom. So yeah, they feel very comfy. I've had no issues with comfort so far. This next half I'm going to do another 4K, but I'm going to try and pick up the pace a bit and see how it handles the speed. But so far I'm enjoying them. They feel quite nippy, they feel quite comfortable, and yeah, no issues so far. So see how it goes. Okay, so second 3.5k-ish, I did a bit of a faster pace, so I got down to about 4 to 4:10 kilometers, and yeah, they felt great. They felt light, they felt nice and chippy, like I could pick up the pace quite nicely without feeling too soft or anything. They're definitely a harder shoe than what you'd expect from something like the Vaporfly, but that might be to some people's preferences. I actually quite enjoyed running these for a shorter distance race. I'm not sure about a marathon, but I think overall they're feeling good. That rocker also, rocker design has a nice kind of tip to it, so it feels like it's pushing a bit forward, which I didn't get from the Cloudbooms. So yeah, overall my first impressions of the Cloudboom Echo are very good. I'm going to use them at track tonight, so hopefully I'll see how they perform at real speed.
So I've just done 5 very rainy miles in the Cloudboom Echo, and I think the first impression really, or the first thing I noticed, is that this is definitely, it feels like an improvement on the first Cloudboom, which I found really firm to run in. You know, it wasn't massively comfortable for me either. I didn't massively love the upper. There's definitely changes in all those kind of departments. I think that makes this, you know, a nicer shoe, or definitely an improved shoe on the first Cloudboom. I think the first thing to say is it definitely doesn't feel as firm to run in. That was something I noticed straight away as I started running in the shoe. I think the kind of sensation you get on this shoe is, you know, you don't get this amazing bounce I think you get on some, you know, on most performance shoes. Definitely feels like you get this more of a kind of rolling, kind of pushing you forward up onto your toes sensation. But I don't think it's an amazing kind of bouncy kind of feel that I kind of like in the you know, kind of the performance shoes myself. But it definitely feels like an improvement in what we got on the Cloudboom. And you know, when I kind of picked up the pace in places in that kind of run, it was kind of a 7:30 minute pace, and I kind of dropped down to 6 for a couple of miles. It definitely felt a lot nicer to go with those quicker paces in this shoe. So, and comfort wise, definitely felt a lot nicer. This upper is really strange. I mean, it's almost paper like, you know, it's light, it's thin. It means it's quite spacious up front. I think it's still quite a narrow shoe to wear, but because this upper, I think it's changed. I think it's going to be a bit more accommodating for kind of more kind of foot sizes, and I definitely felt there was a nice space around here. This is a UK size 8. I wouldn't probably go lower than that. I wouldn't go higher than that. I think this is about right, and I say I have quite a narrow foot, and this felt like a good fit for me. Other than that, I will say, like I said, I went through kind of, you know, quite horrible rainy kind of conditions. It was on road, and this outsole was absolutely fine. Nice kind of grip, no slipping around. So, you know, it's kind of something that On is known for. So from that point of view and a kind of traction point of view, it kind of held up well, kind of in those kind of wet conditions. So yeah, overall, definitely a lot more positive about the Cloudboom Echo in this first run compared to the Cloudboom. One that I actually won't be, you know, wary about putting back on. It's a shoe that I am actually looking forward to putting more miles in. And that first run, it felt pretty good, pretty solid. Did it feel amazing? It didn't, you know, I didn't get that amazing super shoe feeling from it. But again, you know, I'll reserve judgment for when we do our full review. And it's, yeah, the main thing is it's definitely improvement on what we got on the first Cloudboom. And it is one that I'm looking forward to kind of spending a bit more time running in.
So I've just done my first run in the On Cloudboom Echo. Did about 6 miles, 10k at a fairly easy clip with a few miles that were sort of maybe 2/3 pace, but I'm carrying a little bit of an Achilles niggle, so I couldn't really push them all out as they're probably designed to do. One thing I'm going to say about these shoes straight away, when I first put them on, I found them a little bit narrow across that bit where your toes meet your foot, and the end of the bottom of the lacing, basically, that pinch point where the kind of lacing structure is. I found them a little bit tight. It did loosen off, but when I first put them on, that was a bit of a worry, that sensation. I thought they were going to be too tight. Otherwise, I found the fit to be fine. There's a little bit of extra room lengthwise in the toe box, which is nice. I found they sort of hug the feet really nicely. The uppers sort of wrap really well. There's just about enough wiggle room in the toe box. Now, when we go back to the old sort of Cloudbooms, which was the first sort of carbon shoe from On, I think my summary of those was that they were the most joyless shoe that I've ever run in. And from first miles in this, they have made changes that have improved these no end at all. They are far more squish and responsive, but I still think there's still a firmness to them, which I really quite like. You're not going to get a huge amount of stability with these, but you do get quite a lot of fun propulsion off the bottom of those from that carbon plate and those clouds compressing and uncompressing. Now, they've also sort of in parts, they've got double stacked clouds at the back, which is doing some of that work there. But you've also got a bit more cushioning, I think, into the forefoot as well. Underneath the clouds, there's actually a little layer of that kind of Helium super foam underneath the clouds on the outer as well, to give you just a little bit more impact protection on the toes, which is one of the things that I found with the Cloudboom was really difficult. That it just felt like it was hard on every step. With these, you're getting a cushioning and a response, but there's still like a firm sort of direct ground contact feel, I think, when you're up on your sort of forefoot, and I really like that. Overall, I'm actually really impressed with these shoes so far. It's one run. I haven't run with them all out, but you know, they are definitely a shoe that I'm interested to go and try again. The other thing I will say is after about 4 or 5 miles, I just noticed a little bit of a hot spot on the ball of my feet, middle of the ball of my foot. I don't know whether that's against sort of socks or whether that's going to be in the shoes, so that'll be something when we do the longer test that I'll definitely be looking out for. So the other thing that I think is really important to note with these shoes that I've noticed, they're also almost, you can see from the side of the shoe, it's almost split into sort of 2 sections. And the back section where you've got that double stack Cloud Tech and that Helium foam in 2 layers, it feels far more soft and kind of spongy than that front section. But you are getting protection from the front, but it's on the back where you sort of feel that kind of collapse and release. And actually I did feel like there was a good kind of rolling motion here on these shoes. Even when I first put them on to walk, you could almost feel like there was a sort of a bit of a rocker sensation going on. And yeah, I think that's something that's really improved from the original kind of Cloud Echo, from the original Cloudboom. So I think one of the first things you look for when you put on a shoe for a first run is just whether or not you want to put them on again and go and run. They passed this test. I'm really intrigued with these. I have this kind of inclination at the moment that these might not be a marathon shoe still. I think they could be a really good sort of 10k fast half marathon shoe, or something that I would go and do lots of those faster interval sessions in, rather than kind of over a full long distance. But there might be some runners who've got a better form, better technique that will be able to get away with doing marathons. But yeah, I mean, first run in these, I'm actually quite impressed. I think that they're lightweight, they're quite nimble, they're agile, and actually I have enjoyed that first run. So looking forward to actually giving these a bit of a more thorough testing as we go.
So about to head out and do my first run in the On Cloudboom Echo. Shoe arrived this morning, going to take it out for my usual Monday run, which is an hour easy to steady. I'll probably start off kind of around 4:30 per k pace, work my way down to around 3:45 per k by the end. Kind of a nice introduction to the week of running. In terms of the fit, the shoe is quite nice, quite roomy at the front in terms of the amount of room your toes have. It's true to size for me, I'd say, so far, having not done any running in them. And basically I'm hoping that this is going to be kind of less firm, less harsh than the original Cloudboom, and indeed the Cloud Flash that also had a carbon plate.
So we've not gone very far at all, but after 3k, I'm going to say they're still quite firm. I'm hoping they'll get a bit smoother when we actually start running at pace. At the moment it's just been easy, so not really what the shoe's best for, and it's still providing a fairly firm ride. So okay, we are now at just gone through 5 miles, 80k, and there's good news. They feel a lot better as soon as they up the pace a bit. Just kind of ticking along at 4 minutes per k now, and they felt a lot smoother underfoot, less clumpy, less stiff. So I'm hoping there'll be an even bigger improvement when we get to the kind of final few k of the run, when we're going to go along around 3:45. So that's me done then. Did about just over 15k in the hour, ticked up quite nicely at the end there, running with a couple of people, which was nice. So some pros to the shoe. So I think there's certainly more of a roll and a rock here than you got with the previous On shoes like the Cloudboom and the Cloud Flash. Like I say, when I stepped up the pace a little bit, just to kind of less easy and then steady, they felt a lot better than they were a bit kind of clunky and firm at the really easy pace. They're not really designed for that, so that's kind of fair enough.
Also going to say, so I'm a heel striker, so maybe they're going to be nicer if you're more of a midfoot, forefoot. Sometimes, you know, I don't think that's that often the case, but it could be the case here. Maybe you'll get more benefit from the plate. So yeah, because when it comes onto the columns, like I don't think there's a lot going on there that really amazed me. Like they felt like a good shoe, fast shoe, but I didn't feel like they were necessarily promoting efficiency or, you know, generally making the run feel better. Like I say, it's kind of what I do every week. I do that in bog standard training shoes. I've done it in carbon shoes, super shoes, loads of shoes, and yeah, it didn't feel amazing on the run today. Like other pro, there will be that it's quite wet today. It's started to rain quite heavily now, and they gripped nicely on quite a few sharp corners. So yeah, they were good shoes. They felt quick. They felt quite smooth. They probably were reasonably similar to me of all the super shoes out there. Maybe something like the Endorphin Pro, but that is softer, the Endorphin Pro. And there's a bit more spring there with the foam they use compared to On's kind of cloud tech clouds. So yeah, it's still a firm ride. More running to do, you know, first kind of hour, 15k out of the box, they're okay. I wasn't blown away there, but I think there's probably a little bit more of a smoothness and a slightly more enjoyable ride to them than the Cloudboom. That's it guys, that is our first run review of the On Cloudboom Echo. For now, please like, subscribe, ring the little bell, and yeah, we'll see you next time.